Yo, RX back with another breakdown of a pay-per-view. Been a while. UFC 272 Covington versus Masvidal. I'm excited for certain fights on the card, others not so much. It's a very weak pay-per-view, no titles, and besides the main event, the biggest fight rankings wise or like something like that wise is Marina and Xiaonan on the prelims. So yeah, not the most stacked card in the world, but the UFC's really hoping the main event sells, and after the press conference it might sell decently, but I doubt it cracks 1,000,000 buys. So it's a fine card though. Like I've seen worse. I've seen worse pay-per-views. I've seen better. So not much more to say than that, and not much more to say. Then let's get into the breakdown. Before I do, yeah, you know, like, comment, sub, all that shit, please. Thank you. And 100 subs go by the end of the year. Let's hit it, and let's start the breakdown. First fight on the card. Dustin, what's his nickname? Dustin the Hanyak Jocobi versus Michael Olajaychuk. It's an interesting fight to start off the card. Two decent light heavyweights coming off the wins. Obviously, let's start with Dustin Jocobi. Ever since his return to the UFC, I believe, after winning on Contender Series, right, because he was in the UFC before. Was it? Or am I stupid? No, he was. He went 0-2, then got cut, and now he's back. And since he's came back, he's rattled off, what, 5 wins? Yeah, 5 wins. Ledette, Grisham, Kutilaba, Stewart, and Allen. Not bad. I think he should be on the cusp of a ranking at this point. I think he's good. I do think he's a decent fighter. He's very kick heavy. Very, very, very kick heavy. We've seen he can wrestle a little bit, but he's not really gonna look to wrestle in this fight, I doubt. So yeah, it's a very interesting. It's a very good style matchup. Olajaychuk, also a striker. Who now I'll talk about Olajaychuk real quick. Coming off a win at 268, knocking out Shamil Gamzatov, and then before that beating Madeus Bukowskis, and then before that lost to Jimmy Crute, OSP. So he's 4-2-1 in the UFC. Those 2 losses you can't really get mad at, OSP and Jimmy Crute. But he had 2021 he went 2-0, rattling off 2 nice wins, and now he's back. Very small for a light heavyweight division at only 6 feet, and he might have that Polish power. He did get a nice knockout in his last fight, but he's alright. He's a good striker. He tries to pressure you more than anything, and tries to hit you with the Polish power if he does have it. He's decent. Out of these two, who do I think's better at what the fight's gonna be? A striking match, I think Jocobi, because he'll be rattling off some nice kicks. And all around, who I think the better fighter is probably Jocobi. I think Olajaychuk's good, but I think Jocobi's better, and ever since his return to UFC, he's been looking very impressive. And I hope if he does win this one, he finally gets that step up in competition that ever since the Darren Stewart win, I've been saying he should be getting. Like, how do you really beat Ian Kutilaba, who's ranked 15th right now, but then you fight Darren Stewart and John Allen? So I don't know. Betting odds for this fight do have Jocobi coming in minus 195 to plus 160. I don't know if I would have Jocobi almost 200. I think I'd move Jocobi down to maybe a minus 170 to plus 150. But I think Jocobi should be the favorite and really should win. I think he's just the better fighter, not by much. I'm not saying he's miles ahead of Olajaychuk, but I think he is the better fighter, and I think he should take this. Unless the only way Jocobi loses this fight really if he gets clipped somehow, which I doubt is gonna happen. So I'm going Dustin Jocobi by decision. I'm pretty confident because, like I said, the only way he's really losing is if he gets clipped, and I doubt he's gonna get clipped. So going Jocobi by decision to continue his undefeated streak in the UFC since his return. Very impressive. So Jocobi decision to start off the card. After that, a very good fight, and not the fight that I was originally booked to be, and I'll get into that in a second, but Ludovic, Mr. Highlight Klein versus Devonte King Cage Smith. This was supposed to be Devonte Smith versus Eric Gonzalez, the guy Jim Miller completely flatlined. But Gonzalez pulled out 2 weeks ago, and Klein stepped in. And since he's the red corner, I guess we'll talk about Ludovic Klein first. Not a great last two showings in the UFC, even though I do think he got robbed against Mike Trevano. He completely flatlined Shane Young in a minute and a half, and then he kind of just gassed out against Nate Landwehr, which led to him getting Anaconda choked, and now he's here. Really should be 2-1, but his one big flaw, in a way, both guys' big flaw is gas tank. They don't have a good gas tank, and really, and I guess I'll spoil what I was gonna say later in this breakdown. This fight really comes down to if it's not a finish, it comes down to whose gas tank is better. And yeah, I'll say whose gas tank I think is better in a minute. But Ludovic's gas tank is about a round and a half worthy. So, like, again, in the Trezano fight, he probably didn't start gassing until halfway through the second, if I remember correctly. Somewhere in that area. But he really needs this win badly, because if he loses this on paper be 3 in a row, but really would be 2 in a row. And with all the hype he had after the Young fight, this is really looking bad for him, because that would be 3 in a row to the guys with decent talent, and would not look good for Ludovic Klein. And now to talk about Devonte Smith, he's coming off a bad loss to Jane Malarkey, who's fighting later on the card, where he gassed about beginning of the second, which I think his gas tank is about that long. Beginning of the second, and completely just got annihilated, knocked out by Malarkey, who tough. Smith has some good wins on his record. Juicy Jade being probably his best one in a minute, in less than a minute, knocking him out. But he's 3-2 in the UFC, and those 2 losses are to Worthy and Malarkey. One of those 2 L's you could look past, like, okay, the other one's a little weak. But I think Smith is good. I think he has a shittier gas tank out of these 2. Which, thinking about it, with me saying that, I'm completely gonna counter what I just said of whose gas tank's better is gonna determine who wins the fight, if you know what I mean. I think Smith is very good. Just he has no gas tank. he has a round-worthy gas tank, which, especially in a division like 145, is surprising and very bad. Like, very bad. Because in a division like 45 full of fast killers, you need a good gas tank. Like, I don't know. So this is pretty much the gas tank war. Whose is better? I think Klein is better, but I don't know why. I just feel like Smith is gonna win this. Sorry about that. I'm looking up the betting odds for this fight since Tapology does not have them. This fight could we see a knockout? Absolutely. And if we do, I think it's come by Ludovic Klein knocking out Smith. But if we see a decision, that's a lot tougher to call. Okay, so the betting lines have Devonte Smith coming in minus 165 to plus 135. No. Either I would have it even, or Klein should be a small favorite, like minus 140, something like that. But even like I said, I think Smith can take this. I don't know why. I just really think Devonte Smith can take this. And no disrespect to Ludovic Klein, like I said, I think the only way a knockout happens in this fight is if he's the one knocking Smith out. But I just don't see a knockout, and I don't see Klein winning a decision here. So, I'm going Devonte Smith by decision. I'm not confident, really. Very, very unconfident. But I think it could definitely happen. You know what I mean? So, I'm going Smith by decision. Yeah, should be an interesting one. This should show who, when gassed, wants it more, because the first round might be fun, but that second and third, if it makes it that long, will show who wants it more. So I'm going Devonte Smith by decision. Probably really bad pick, but we'll see. Maybe it doesn't backfire. We'll see what happens. But yeah. Next fight on the early prelims, by the way, pay-per-view, so obviously early prelims. Tim Elliott versus Tiger Woolen. Let's start with the legend, the 125 legend, the veteran, Tim Elliott. We all know Tim Elliott. He's crazy. He'll throw whatever he wants out there. He'll wrestle if he has to, but I think he prefers to strike, get bloody, and swang and bang. A lot of people think he got robbed in the Mateus Nicolau fight. I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember that fight well enough to. I'm trying to remember. I guess he got. I really. If I remember correctly, Nicolau definitely. I don't know. I don't remember greatly. But before that, Elliott routed off 2 nice wins against Ryan Benoit and Jordan Espino. If you remember that Espinino fight, you remember he was talking shit to him late in the fight when he was definitely winning. Cause I guess Espino beat assault on a woman. So yeah, good for Elliott. Fuck that guy. But like just look down Elliott's record. Wins, losses. He almost beat DJ that one time. He's pretty much, besides what, Brandon Moreno and Alexander Pantoja, he's fought all the top guys at flyweight over the last couple years, and Henry Cejudo. Besides those couple guys, Figgy, Royval, DJ, Benavidez, Dobson, like, he was never gonna win the title. He won tough, but he was never gonna win the title. But he's that vet. He's like Donald Cerrone. He's the 125 Donald Cerrone. Just fights insanely different from Donald Cerrone. So yeah, we all know what we're getting with Tim Elliott. I really don't need to explain much more. But with his opponent, Tiger Woolen, he's Russian, so he likes to wrestle this kid. If I remember, he has a little bit of striking, but not much. He's only 2-0 in the UFC. I remember in his last fight, 267, just like Oleg Jacek, same card, coincidence. Against Alan Nascimento, he had a very bad performance in a fight. What I think it's like -3 and -4. It was a split decision. He didn't. I remember he had a very bad performance in this fight. And it was like one of the first fights on the card, or not first fight on the card. So not a good performance. But then, before that, in the UFC debut, he beat Bruno Silva, which that way has kind of aged better. You know, Bruno Silva has fallen off the face of the earth. So, yeah. He's that Russian you need at 125. You need a wrestler. And he's exactly that. He can strike a little bit. He's not like, let's say, Umar Nurmagomedov, wink wink, but he's good. I think let's see, how old is he? 30. He still needs to improve in some areas, but he's good. This fight is very interesting because striking wise, I think Elliott has it, but wrestling wise, it's close. But I think Ulanbekov can have it. For as crazy as it sounds, I think Elliott can definitely take this fight. Because if Alan Nascimento is giving Ulanbekov problems, Elliott is gonna give him really bad problems. The betting odds have Ulanbekov coming in -255 to +205. I kinda agree. I don't think he should be 250. I think I'd move Ulanbekov down to maybe a 210, a little more leeway. I would not be I definitely would not be not one of my more confident picks of the night. And I'm going to go Ulanbekov. Obviously, I'm not insane, but I don't think it's as clear cut as those betting odds are trying to make it seem. But with that being said, I am going Ulanbekov by decision. Ooh, no, decision fun. He just should win. If he fights smart enough, he should win. So I'm going Ulanbekov by decision. Somewhat confident, not the most, but not the least. Like 50% confident. So Ulanbekov decision. And now the featured prelim, more Russian. Fucking car driving by. Umar Nurmagomedov versus Brian Boom Keller. I really don't think anyone's from the couple breakdowns I watched, everyone is saying the same thing. So I don't really think I could say anything new here, but I'll still try to say something. And I'll start with the Nurmagomedov. Umar is very good. Him and Islam are, never cut for the few Nurmagomedovs that are in the UFC. Umar and Islam fight for that #1 seed. Umar is scary good. He's a Nurmagomedov, so he can wrestle amazingly, but he also can strike very, very well, which is fucking frightening. Especially in that bantamweight division, which is very interesting, is all I'm gonna say. He's very good. I think this is pretty much just his stepping stone into the rankings. Like, I won't be shocked by end of the year he's like top 10 in the bantamweight rankings if he can consistently fight. And I just want to throw this out there. He was booked on the UFC London card in 2 weeks against Jack Shore. Holy shit, that fight, by the way. But that got canned for no reason, and now he's here 2 weeks earlier. Man, him and Shore would have been a war. Yeah, Umar's very good. But then to move over to the veteran that we all know, pretty much same thing I said for for Tim Elliott that I'm going to say for Brian Keller. We know what we're getting. We're getting a guy who, very good, but he loses when he should, wins when he should. He loses to Ricky Simone and Montel Jackson, but he beats Ray Rodriguez, Kevin Kroom, and Ode Osborne. Like, his best win on his record in the UFC is old man Henan Barao. So, we don't like that. Brian Keller is that guy who will never be ranked, especially in the bantamweight division, my god. But he'll never really be ranked because he's not the level of the ranked guys, but he's not the level of the badly unranked guys, if you know what I mean. He can strike somewhat, but he likes to wrestle. And I think that's really going to screw him in this fight. He did not look that impressive against Kevin Kroom. I get Kroom is a lot taller, but Keller looked very average against a guy like Kevin Kroom, who he should be looking good against. Same thing with how do you say his name? Domingo Pilate. He looked very subpar in another fight he should easily be dominating. So, yeah, not very much more I can say about Keller that we don't already know. These betting odds are insane, but accurate, very accurate. Umar Nurmagomedov coming in minus 670 to plus 475. Why not just throw Umar at 700? Honestly, he's gonna win this. I don't know how he loses this. Unless his gas tank fails him or he somehow gets knocked out, he should win this decisively, easily, whatever you want to say. I don't see how he could lose this fight. So, obviously, I'm going to Umar Nurmagomedov. My lock of the night with Manon Fiorot and Jessica Ige falling off the card last week. So, lock of the night, Umar Nurmagomedov should win pretty easily. So, Umar decision. Even though I definitely think he'd get a finish, but I like to go decisions. So, Umar decision. That 22 minutes in, the early prelims done. We'll send to these these real prelims, and we start off with a fight I'm hyped for, mainly because I like 1-5er. Betting on the backward on here. Marian Morozov versus Maria Demon Slayer Acapella. Let's start with Morozov. We've not seen Morozov in a minute since what, 2020, early 2020. So, and she's had 4 fights canceled over since that fight. Monteo de la Rosa, Talia Santos, Manon Fiorot, and Luana Carolina. And she's the one who withdrew from all 4 of them. So we've somehow made it to fight week final. With almost fight day for Carolina, or I mean for Morozov. So we might actually get this fight. And this fight actually has some bad blood behind it from what I've heard, because if I'm correct, after Acapella's last fight win against Sabina Mazo, she was talking shit to Morozov about, I think, why Acapella got kicked out the gym and all that. I don't know. I know it involves drugs, even though I think it was all bullshit, the story. But whatever. Can we please just get to weigh-ins? Make weight more love, please. Yeah, and her last fight was against Maria Bruno Silva in a win years ago. Feels like. I think that Oliveira Lee, the last card before COVID shut shit down for 2 months. So we've really not seen her in a minute. But now let's talk about the fighter we have seen more recently, and again very disrespected lately, Maria Acapella. Yes, we all know Marina Acapella for one fluke loss against Shauna Dobson. Yes. But let's be honest, that was a fluke. Acapella is very, very good, and I've said this for a minute now. Acapella with good cardio could be frightening in that 125 division. And in her last fight against Bina Mazo, she fought smart, and she looked like she had really good cardio for the two rounds that she fought, and then the 53 seconds in the third, where she battered Mazo badly. Yeah, I think Acapella is very good, and she's only 24 or some shit, very young. Yes, 24. She's very, very, very young in MMA career, and she's already this good. She could be very scary in a couple years, if not a year or so. So, yeah, I think in a couple years the Dobson fight's gonna be looked at as a complete fluke that it was, because that fighter who fought Dobson is not the same fighter now. But now we talk about the betting odds, which on Tapology they're flipped, glitched out. But I think Acapella would come in minus 250 to plus 175. I agree. I think Acapella should be at least like a minus 250, not 15. But whatever. I think she should win this pretty easily. I think Morozov's good, but Acapella motivated, angry, and ready to go. I think she should win this. So I'm going Maria Acapella by knockout in the second. First, or I think it's gonna be a finish, either submission or a knockout. So I'm just gonna go knockout. It could be like the Mazo fight where she drops Morozov and goes in for an RNC or something like that. But I think she's gonna want to put Morozov to sleep. So I'm going Marina Acapella by knockout / TKO in the second. Very confident. Not even because I'm biased, I'm just confident. After that, a fight of what the fuck are these names? Nick Nagamunranu. I'm not trying to say a bad word. Versus Kendi African Savage Nzechuku. Let's start with Nick. Nick's on a nice 2-fight winning streak in the UFC, beating Ike Villanueva and Aleska Kummer. Not great wins, but wins. And then before that, he lost his UFC debut against Spivak Saffron. So, but in his last 2 fights, he's looked good. He's shown some nice striking, and if I remember, even a little bit of wrestling. So he's looking like he's finally getting into his fighting ability. And I think he's very young too. I think he's like 28 or some shit. Whenever Tapology wants to load would be nice. But yeah, he looked very good his last couple fights. Yeah, only 27. Again, against very weak competition, but you know, Kendi Nzechuku is definitely a step up. And obviously, this was not supposed to be the fight. Nzechuku stepped in for some guy off the Contender Series who pulled out. And honestly, I think this fight might be a little more interesting than that fight. Yeah, I think Nick's really good. Kind of small for light heavyweight, only 6 feet, like Olejniczak. And especially in this fight, he's shorter, fighting Kendi, who's 6'5". So, yeah. Now to talk about Kendi and Nzechuku, he was a nice hype train after the Carlos Arberg fight. Then the comeback win against Danilo Marquez, and then Da Jung with the force knocked him out cold. So he's 3-2 in the UFC. He's a very frustrating fighter to watch, kind of like a Ramiz Brahima. Very frustrating fighter to watch, cause like in the Alberg fight, Alberg was dead tired, but Nachos wouldn't capitalize, and that's why it took so long for the finish. He's a very, maybe he's just in his own head a lot, but you gotta, at this point, you gotta get your head out your ass and start fighting smart, cause you can't be fighting like scared in a way, especially at your size and power. You gotta fight smarter. I think Kennedy's very good. He has so much potential. I feel just right now he's just not capitalizing on it. Excuse me, fuck. So I think Kennedy's game plan here is striking. Maybe if Nick tries to wrestle, Kennedy's so big compared to Nick, it might be a pain in the ass for him to wrestle. But it's a very interesting fight. The betting odds do have Kennedy coming in minus 155 to plus 130. I really don't agree. I'd either have it even or Nick as a very small favorite, like minus 135. I really don't see how Kennedy can be a favorite here, just because Nick has looked really good in his last two fights, and Kennedy's very hard to trust. So, and with that being said, I think I'm gonna go Nick Mariano by decision. I think he can just fight smarter than Ken. I think he can squeeze out a win. I like Kennedy in the Dutch coup. I would like to see him win this fight. It's very hard trusting him. Maybe I'll change my pick come prelims or come weigh-ins, but we'll see. Right now I'm leaning towards Nick by decision, so I'm kind of confident, not very, so keep that in mind. But right now, Nick decision. After that, a huge fight that really should be on the main card. Marina Rodriguez versus Yan 9 Xiaonan. Why is this fight not on the main card? If Marina wins this, she could easily be fighting for the belt next. And if Yan wins this, she just threw herself right back in with the top dogs in that division. So why is this not on the main card? Why is Greg Hardy on the main card? Whatever. Let's talk about this fight. Let's talk about the red corner first, like always, Marina Rodriguez. By the way, Marina's 34 years old. That's fucking insane, but whatever. Marina, nice hot streak in her last couple fights. Ever since getting robbed against Carla Esparza, she's knocked off 3 nice wins back to back, KOing Amanda Ribas, and then dominating Michelle Waterson and Mackenzie Dern. Very impressive wins, showing she has power, and in the Dern and Waterson fight, she's smart. She can fight smart. She has a good gas tank. So I think Marina's a huge problem in 115 division. And honestly, as I keep thinking about this, as I keep thinking about her fighting Rose for the belt, which will probably happen end of the year, if Marina wins this and Rose will beat Carla again, I'm leaning more and more towards Marina Rodriguez every time I think about the fight. I think she's very good, and I think besides wrestling, which is Marina's weakness, kryptonite, whatever, Achilles heel, Marina's really good. Like, after her Dern win, people were talking about her fighting Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and all you could think about is the striking in that fight would be insane. But she's fighting Yan, and obviously this is gonna be a complete kickboxing match. And speaking of Yan, let's talk about Yan Xiaonan. And speaking of Carla Esparza, in Yan's last fight getting completely wrecked by Carla Esparza, crucifixed, finished But before that, destroying Karolina Kowalkiewicz, beating Claudia Gadelha, Angela Hill. She's very nice wins. I think Jan's very good. But I think she still needs to learn more. Like, I think she's good, but I'm interested to see how she does in this fight against someone who's not gonna try and wrestle her like Carla did. I'm very intrigued because I want to see if she can hold up striking with. Because actually she can outstrike and dominate Karolina Kowalkiewicz. How is she gonna do against arguably the best current striker in that division, who still fights? So I'm very, very, very intrigued. I would be amazed if either of these two try to wrestle. I really don't see that happening. And if they do, Jan maybe have the advantage. Nah, I don't know. It's a very tough call, but this is going to be a kickboxing match for 3 rounds. And who do I think takes it? Well, the betting odds are high. Not even because I think they're wrong, just because I think they're too big. Marina Rodriguez coming in minus 280 to plus 230. Yan Xiaonan. Marina should be the favorite. Maybe like a minus 180, 190. But minus 280? People are really underestimating Yan Xiaonan. I'm not even picking Yan Xiaonan, but even I can see people are badly underestimating her. Yan's good. The Carla fight, yeah, she got completely wrecked, but by a veteran, and it was her first loss in the UFC. So, yeah, I'm excited for this one. Very excited. Big stakes in the division should be on the main card, and I'm going with Marina Rodriguez. I think Marina, like I said, she's 34 years old. That's still insane. But I think Marina's very good, and I'm excited to see her fight for the belt if she wins this fight, which I think she will. Or, please fight Joanna. Joanna, please come back, but that's a different story for maybe the recap, depending on what happens. But, yeah, I'm going with Marina Rodriguez by decision. I would say I'm confident, but like a 65% confidence, so, yeah. And now the featured prelim. Yeah, Marina's not even a featured prelim. I know, it's complete bullshit. Jalen, the Tarantula Turner versus Jamie Malarkey. Very good fight. Very, very good fight. Jalen, obviously, Jalen Turner. In his last fight, ruining the hype train that was Euro's medic in about, 4 minutes. Before that, beat Brooke Weaver, Joshua Kulibau. Did lose to Matt Frivola, but Matt Frivola is a dog. And he lost to Vicente Luque. Can't even get mad at that shit. He's had ups and downs, but in his last 3 fights, it looks like he's really been getting his flow. Fighting wise, he's a very lengthy 155er. 6'3" with a 75-inch reach. So very lengthy 55er and very good. The kid has shown a lot of potential in his last couple fights. Running through Euro's medic like he did is very, very impressive. And he was like a plus 250 dog or something. He was a very big dog. Yeah, but I guess not. But he ran through a guy like Medic, who was very hyped up, and he destroyed him. And now Malarkey, who's not as hyped, well, we're not hyped up at all, but is very good too. Now to talk about Mr. Malarkey, he's on a nice 2-fight winning streak, beating Devonte Smith in his last fight, like I talked about earlier, and before that, knocking out Karma Worthy. So, not bad last two fights for Malarkey after losing back-to-back to Faraz Ziam and Topology. You want to load? No, you don't? Cool. But yeah, Malarkey is very good. Brad Riddell is who he lost to. Um, he has a lot of power, and his gas tank has seemed like it's gotten better. And to already have fought a ranked guy like Brad Riddell is very impressive. This is a battle of two young guns in that lightweight division, and it should be a very good fight. Turner is coming in a minus 135 favorite to plus 110. Honestly, I agree. I think Turner should be the slight favorite. I think he's shown more overall in his UFC career, but Malarkey is no joke. Malarkey is a really good dog. In two ways, really. Yeah. I think it's good. Very tough fight. Very tough fight to predict. In a way, in a way it is, in a way it isn't. I think the way to victory for both guys, maybe Turner wants to implement some wrestling, maybe, but if he doesn't, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked. I think overall, I think Turner's just a better fighter. Not by much. Kind of like I said earlier, not by much. But I think he is the better fighter. Don't mind background noise. Yeah. And with that being said, I think I'm leaning towards Turner. I think he can take this. I think I'm leaning towards Jalen Turner by decision. I think he'll. I could easily see a finish, but I think this fight's very tough. Gonna be a very good striking fight, and could go either way. So, very excited. So, should be a good one between two young guns in the lightweight division. You gotta love when UFC books these young guns to fight each other. Giannis Costa earlier last year was great, and you should see, distance yourself from the pack. So I'm going Jalen Turner by decision. After that, well, now I got distracted. After that, we move on to the main card, which, let's talk about the prelims. Very good prelims. Even for pay-per-view, very good prelims. For fight night, amazing prelims. But this main card for a pay-per-view, very weak, and is the nicest word I could use, to be honest with you. A very weak main card. Not even that it's a bad main card overall, just for what, $80 that it is. It's just very weak. So, but we start off the main card with a fight that really should not be on it, and that is Sergey Polarbear Spivak versus Greg Harvey. We all know Greg Harvey for being a piece of shit, and that's a whole different story that we really don't need to get into here. But let's talk about the Polarbear. Spivak in his last fight did come in on short notice versus Tom Aspinall. Got knocked out. We all predicted that he would, but he lasted 2.5 minutes. And then before that, he's 3 wins in a row. Alexei Olenek, Jared Vandera, and Carlos Felipe. Not amazing wins. He has a win over Tai Tuivasa, which I've aged greatly. And his debut was against Walt Harris. So, yeah, he's had a bumpy road. He's had ups and downs, but now he's here. Opening the main card against Greg Harvey. I think Spivak's good. I don't think he's great though. I think he's very subpar heavyweight. Like he'll beat a Jared Vandera and a fucking Alexei Olenek, but he won't be a Tom Aspinall. And where do I think Hardy falls into that situation? I'll tell you in a minute. But to just talk about the fighter, Greg Hardy, who's fucking delusional, by the way, thinking Taito Ivasa is scared of him. Bro, you got knocked out. But that's a different story. He back-to-back losses against Marcin Tybura and Taito Ivasa. He completely just gassed out against Tybura when he couldn't finish him. And then against Tuivasa, he rocked Tuivasa, but he ran into a left hook. So, got sent to the Shadow Realm. Before that, he did have a couple wins. Green, the Castro, Adams, the Inhaler Gate. He fought fucking Alexander Volkov, so. As a fighter, I think Hardy's okay. Like, I think he's better than a Vandera, but I think he's worse than fucking Alexei Olenek. So, I just don't think that he has a shit gas tank with his fucking Hailer problems and all that shit. Plus, he's a heavyweight. So, really, his key to winning this is an early 2-3 minute knockout. Do I think he's gonna get that? Probably not. I think if the second this fight enters the second round, I think Harvey's done. So I'm going with Sergey Spivak, who also minus 220 favorite, plus 180. I don't agree with that, even though I wish I could, but I think Spivak should be maybe like 170, 75, because that round one chance of Harvey knocking him out is very big, as much as we hate it. But I'm going Sergey Spivak by knockout or submission in the second round. I think Hardy will gas and probably get finished. So, going Spivak by knockout in the second. Come on, Sergey, be a good guy for once. But yeah, not much more to say. Next up, we move on to a really 47 minutes already. Very good fight. Kevin the Trailblazer Holland's welterweight debut versus Alex Cowboy Oliveira. Let's start with the Trailblazer. This is, like I said, this is his welterweight debut after losing his last two at middleweight to Victoria and Brunson. His obviously biggest fighting, his Achilles heel is that he has no wrestling. And that's why he lost his last two fights, because he has no wrestling. I think Holland's very good, and I'm very interested to see how his cut goes. He's probably the fighter I'm most interested in seeing at the weigh-ins tomorrow, just to see how he looks. Because if he looks drained, or he barely makes the weight, or misses, then I'm very worried. But if he goes in there, somehow hits like 168, comes in underweight in a way and all that, then I think Alex Oliveira is completely fucked. And to talk about Alex Oliveira, we all know Alex Oliveira. Lately, he's not been having a good run. 0-3 after not rattling off nice 2 wins. 3-2 in his last 5. Or 2-3, sorry. Losing to Nico Price, Randy Brown, and Shavkat Rakhmonov. Can't get mad at any of those losses, really. And he's just been dominated. I think Alex is a vet, but he's really never been that good. When was his, what even is his best UFC win? Carlos Condit? So, and he's fought so many of the top guys. Cowboy, Gilbert Burns, Gunnar Nelson, Shavkat. So it's not like he's been losing to nobody. He's fought a murderer's row of guys. Just, his chin's kinda sus, his striking ain't great, and he's a really decent grappler. But I really don't see how he wins this unless Holland's weight cut is horrendously bad. I think Holland should really go out there and run through Alex Oliveira. So, and betting odds have Holland coming in minus 250 to plus 200. I say no just because we've not seen him on the scales yet. Right now, I'd have Holland maybe minus 150, but depending on how he looks on the scales tomorrow, then you throw him up to a 200, 250. So, either way, I'm going Kevin Holland by knockout in the first. I'm very confident he looks good tomorrow. I'm not completely unconfident, but I'm very skeptical if he looks bad. So, Kevin Holland knockout in the first. I think he should torch him like he did a lot of guys in 2020. So, let's go Trailblazers. Back. 15 minutes in, we got 3 fights left to kill. Sorry about that. After that, you got a very good fight. Interesting one. Edson Jr. Barboza versus Bryce Sug Nasty Mitchell. I'll have to start with Junior Barboza. We all know Edson Barboza, legend. Still kicking ass and legs at 36. Before Giga ran through him, he knocked out Shane Burgos and beat Makwan Amirkhani, and let's be honest, he beat Dan Ige. He did finish his lightweight run 1-4 in his last 5, but he was fighting motherfucking killers. Gaethje, Khabib, Lee, Felder, T-Verg he fought at one point, so you can't even get mad at going 1-5. You're beating Dan Hooker in a murder. So you can't get mad at that. But since he's moved down 3-1, only losing to Giga Chikidze, can't get mad at that shit, man. What can I really say about Edson Barboza that's never been said? He's one of the best kickers in the UFC right now, up there with Jose Aldo, Giga Chikidze. So he's gonna tear apart your legs if you like it or not. And he's dangerous on the feet, on the ground. He's a dangerous fighter. But to talk about Sug Nasty Mitchell, he's very dangerous on the ground, not too dangerous on the feet. He likes to kick, but he's not Edson Barboza levels of kicking. No, not many people are. Bryce is 5-0 in the UFC. Really not great wins. Feely, Rosa, Styles, Diamond. So very weak wins. Best one being Andre Feely, obviously. This is his real first step up in competition, and it's very not a fun step up from Andre Feely to Edson Barboza. We all know what Mitchell's game plan is. Get Barboza to the ground and wrestle him. Can he do that? We'll see. He might be getting Beneil Dariush, if you know what I mean. But this fight's very good because on the feet, Barboza I think is way better. Maybe not completely dominate, but I think he's gonna be tearing apart Sug Nasty's legs. But on the ground, Bryce Mitchell is very good, and if it gets to the ground, it should get interesting. With that being said, the betting odds do have Bryce Mitchell coming in minus 155 to plus 130. I disagree. I think it should be near even. But with that being said, my least confident pick of the night, I'm going Sug Nasty Mitchell by decision. I think he'll squeak out a win here. And I mean, he might not be walking for a week, but I think he'll squeak out with a W. I just hope he doesn't get Beneil Dariush. You know, a lot of people would love to see that because Mitchell says a lot of stupid shit. Like, what do you expect from a hillbilly? So, I'm going Sug Nasty by decision. Very, very, very low confidence, but I think he can do it. So, yeah. After that, we got the co-main. Not gonna spend much time on because I think it's the most one-sided fight. Besides Keller, easily probably the most one-sided fight on the card. Rafael dos Nachos versus Hanatoe Moykano. Yes, it's supposed to be Rafael Faziz, but he got COVID on Tuesday and pulled out. Everyone thought Islam Makhachev was going to step in, but RDA got scared and said no, so they went with the next best thing they could, Hanatoe Moykano. We all know RDA, he's fought literally everyone you can at 70 and 55 at this point. I'm trying to think who he hasn't fought. Gaethje, Hamzat. So, he fought Usman, Khabib, Tony. I think he probably fought Dustin at one point. Fucking Colby. So he's fought everyone. And he's a legend. I'll give him that, but he did duck Islam. But he's a legend, no doubt about it. Yeah, we all know he can strike, but he likes to wrestle. So, and now to talk about Hanatoe Moykano. I just did a breakdown on him a couple weeks ago. He's good, very weak chin, not great striking. Though, yeah, I know he knocked out Hernandez. That's Alexander Hernandez, and obviously he's another grappler. This is gonna be a very heavy grapple fest for 5 rounds. Why is it 5 rounds? Yeah. What are the odds for this? Sorry again for loud typing. Gotta look up the betting odds. I'm guessing RDA is like minus 250 to 300, like he should be. Again, why is this fight 5 rounds? RDA is only coming in minus 170. The fuck? How is he only okay? Fuck. People are stupid. Yeah, RDA is gonna win. I don't think that there's really any ifs, ands, or buts. RDA is gonna win. Am I breaking news here? RDA is way better everywhere. So, and this is 5 rounds, which sucks. But RDA's been through so many 5 rounders, probably nothing to him. So, I'm going RDA by decision easily. I think he should be a minus 3 to 350, not 170. But he should win easily. Moykano needs a miracle. Now I'm going Dos Nachos by decision. Very, very, very confident. Did I rush through the last couple fights? In a way, yeah, because we're already 57 minutes in, so I don't think you're really going to be upset about that. But now let's talk about the main event of the evening, which is an amazing fight. I don't know if it's worth buying the pay-per-view, but it is an amazing fight. Colby Chaos Covington versus Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. Friends turned enemies. Wow, this fight's gonna be fucking insane. Let's talk about both guys. Let's start with the King of Chaos. We all know Colby Covington. We think we do, but in his last fight, at least against Usman, he showed he can strike now. 170 is royally fucked, by the way, if he can. Colby striking. Wow. Colby rocked Usman in the 4th. Colby looked great against Usman 2 times, but he looked great against Usman in the rematch. And if he's somehow getting better, Masvidal, let alone 170, is screwed. But right now, we're talking about Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. At least who he's fighting. Colby, I'll get to the game plan in a second, but Colby getting better is frightening. And then for Jorge Masvidal, well, he's a really good striker, but his wrestling's never really been there. Journeyman, in a way. And I will say, if anyone who thinks, oh, you're just gonna knee him, if Colby's dumb enough to duck his head down and take a knee, he deserves to get KO'd. But Colby's not an idiot. He's not gonna fucking do that. Both guys key to victory. Colby's striking and wrestling. Tire out Masvidal as quick as he can. And since Colby's gas tank is insanely good, he's probably not gonna gas. So Colby really should not be worried about gassing, and just tire Jorge quick as possible. For Jorge, if you need an early finish within the first 2 rounds, if you don't get that, then you might have some problems. If we start hitting that 3rd round, halfway through the 3rd, Jorge might be getting tired and fucked up. So, the betting odds do have Colby coming in. You know, I disagree with this as much of a Colby fan that I am. Minus 330 to plus 260 for Colby Covington. No, I think Colby should be minus 210, 220-ish. Like, Jorge has a chance here. Not even gonna dispute it. Jorge has a complete chance here. But I really think it's a slim chance. What I think is gonna happen, the first 2 rounds are gonna be insane. We're gonna see some striking, some takedowns. Colby might even get rocked a little bit. But I think when that third round comes, you'll see Jorge breathing a little heavy, gassed a little more. Colby still bouncing around, throwing kicks, getting him to the ground. And I think in that 4th, or if it makes the 5th round, Colby's gonna get a ground and pound finish and embarrass Jorge Masvidal. So I'm going Colby Covington by TKO. Really, I think TKO, but knockout / TKO in the 4th. I think he's gonna tire out Jorge. I think he's gonna finish him. I don't think a decision would make Colby or Masvidal either, but Colby happy winning this fight, so I think he wants that finish. I think he's gonna ground and pound Masvidal, make him tap to strikes. Colby finish in the 4th. Confident, about 75-80%. Yeah, what, we hit an hour mark yet? Yeah, baby. I'll go over my picks one more time. Dustin Jocobi by decision. Devonte Smith by decision. Tiger Woolen by decision. Martin Nurmagomedov by decision, my lock of the night. Marina Acapella by knockout / TKO in the 2nd. Nick Nigerianu by decision. Marina Rodriguez by decision. Jalen Turner by decision. Sergey Spivak by knockout / TKO in the 2nd. Kevin Holland by knockout in the 1st. Bryce Mitchell by decision. RDA by decision. Colby Chaos Covington by knockout / TKO in the 4th. Those are my picks. 13 fights up, 13 fights down. Overall, for a pay-per-view, is it weak? Yeah. But will we at least get a gem in the main event? Most likely. So, I'm excited. I don't know how you can't be after the press conference no less, which was great. I don't know why people were saying the press conference was ass. It was everything you want in a press conference. Sorry about that. And I think it was just a great press conference. And it's gonna be a great fight. The weigh-in's tomorrow. Hopefully everyone makes weight. Knock on wood. Yeah, not much more to say. Oh, excuse me, God. My mouth is dry as shit at this point for talking for an hour and 4 minutes. But you will hear me again for a recap on Sunday, 7 p.m. I considered changing the times I premiere these to maybe an afternoonish. We'll see what happens. If my last video did do decent views, so maybe the 7 p.m. is not bad. But we'll see what happens. If enough people, if you guys want it to be premiered earlier, then I will. Sorry about that. But we'll see, whatever you guys want. But right now, I think I might stick with the 7 p.m. It might change over the summer or some shit. But right now, it's at the same time. And then next Friday, 1 week from now, breakdown for Goliath Santos, which looks like a good card, but that's for next week. So, oh my god, not much more to say. Hype for the card, hyped just in general. Yeah, not much more to say, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, oh my god, RX out. Hashtag free Cain Velasquez.